Minister Salute. My name is Julian Long, AKA Minister Salute. I was born in Long Beach, California. I was a military brat, so we moved around a little bit. I went to Alaska, lived there for a little while, and grew up in Killeen, Texas, where my dad retired at Fort Hood. Growing up, I had a simple life. I had both my parents. I had a younger sister, and we really didn't have any needs, no worries or concerns. It wasn't until I got to 8th grade, my parents decided to get a divorce. At the age of 16, I decided to join a gang. I started dabbling in drugs and alcohol. I lost my virginity, and all throughout my high school year, I was dealing with depression and anger. In 10th grade, I got kicked out of school for an organized gang violent activity, which required us to assault an individual. All of this was because I was just a product of a broken home. I didn't know that I was suffering with depression. I just knew that I was extremely sad. And so it wasn't until my senior year in high school that I decided that I wanted to do something different with my life. I lost 2 friends to a drunk driver, 2 childhood friends that I grew up with. And at that time, man, I was going to church, in and out of church, just trying to find my way. And the same church that I was going to was the same church that his parents attended. So when we went to the wake, my friend asked me, "Hey, are you saved?" And that was like the biggest question of my whole entire life. Was I saved? The time that he asked me, the pastor was doing an altar call, and I didn't know what none of this stuff meant. I barely knew who Jesus was, but I knew that the answer to that question was no, and that was my opportunity to change that. So as soon as I made that change, God started working in my life, and he started removing people out of my life. He started transforming my mind, and I went into that summer really in a transformation. That was the first time I actually opened up my Bible and read it thoroughly for the first time. At the time, man, I knew that I had to change my environment, and that being in Killeen wasn't gonna help me change that environment. So I made a decision to move to another state to live with my mother in Washington State, and that's where I decided to join the military. Things just started changing for the positive in my life. During this same time frame, I met my wife, who now we're married for 10 years. And unfortunately, at the very same time, I had a tragic loss, which was my father. He passed away to brain cancer. I did have to undergo some trials and some tribulations, man, losing somebody very close to me, and at the same time getting married to the love of my life. It was a very harsh conflict, and we both had to deal with a lot of things during that trial, but it was things that made us stronger, and it definitely increased my faith, knowing that it is possible that God can get you through all circumstances.